Once upon a time, in a small village nestled at the edge of a vast and mysterious forest, there lived a boy named Aiden. The forest was no ordinary place. It was said to be enchanted, filled with magical creatures, ancient trees that whispered secrets, and pathways that led to hidden treasures. But for as long as Aiden could remember, no one had dared to venture deep into the forest. The villagers believed it was cursed, and those who entered never returned. But Aiden wasn't like the others. He had always been drawn to the forest, fascinated by the stories and legends surrounding it. He would spend hours at the edge of the woods, imagining the adventures that awaited within. One day, while sitting beneath the shade of an old oak tree, he heard a strange voice, soft, almost like a breeze. Aiden! He jumped to his feet, looking around, but no one was there. Aiden! The voice whispered again, this time clearer. It seemed to be coming from the forest. His heart pounded in his chest. He had always wanted an adventure, but now that it was calling to him, he wasn't sure if he was ready. Taking a deep breath, he stepped closer to the trees. "Who's there?" he called out. There was no answer, but a soft glow appeared in the distance, just beyond the first row of trees. It was faint, like a flicker of light, but it was enough to draw Aiden in. With a mixture of fear and excitement, he took his first step into the enchanted forest. The moment Aiden entered the forest, everything changed. The air was cooler, and the trees seemed taller, their branches swaying gently even though there was no wind. The light from the village behind him faded, and the only illumination came from the soft glow ahead. As he ventured deeper, the forest seemed to come alive. He could hear the rustling of leaves, the distant calls of strange creatures, and the faint hum of magic in the air. But there was something else, a presence watching him. Aiden stopped in his tracks, feeling the weight of unseen eyes upon him. "Who are you?" he asked aloud, his voice echoing through the trees. Suddenly, the glow ahead of him grew brighter, and out of the shadows stepped a figure. It was a woman, but not an ordinary one. Her hair was like silver moonlight, and her eyes glowed with an ethereal light. She wore a cloak made of shimmering leaves, and her presence seemed to blend with the forest itself. "I am Elowen, the guardian of this forest," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "I've been waiting for you, Aiden." "Waiting for me?" Aiden repeated, surprised. Elowen nodded. "Yes, the forest has chosen you for a quest, a journey that will determine its future and yours." Aiden's mind raced. "But I'm just a boy. How can I help?" "The forest sees something in you that others do not," Elowen said. "There is a great darkness threatening to consume this land, and only those with true courage can stop it. You must find the 3 ancient relics hidden deep within the forest. They hold the power to protect our world from the darkness." Aiden's heart raced with both fear and excitement. A quest? Him? He had always dreamed of adventure, but this was more than he had ever imagined. "Where do I begin?" he asked. Elowen smiled gently. "The first relic lies in the Cave of Whispers to the north. But beware, the path is dangerous, and many have tried before you." Aiden swallowed his fear and nodded. "I'll do it." The journey to the Cave of Whispers was long and treacherous. Aiden followed the path Elowen had shown him, navigating through thick underbrush, crossing streams, and climbing steep hills. The further he went, the darker the forest became, and the once soft whispers of the trees grew louder and more menacing. By the time he reached the cave, the sky had darkened, and the wind howled through the trees. The entrance to the cave was hidden behind a waterfall, its mist creating a shimmering veil. Aiden hesitated for a moment, but he knew he couldn't turn back now. Taking a deep breath, he stepped through the waterfall and into the cave. Inside, the air was cool and damp, and the walls seemed to pulse with a strange energy. The whispers were louder now, echoing all around him. "Turn back, turn back." But Aiden ignored them, pressing on. He knew the whispers were meant to scare him, to keep him from finding the relic. He wouldn't let them stop him. As he ventured deeper into the cave, the whispers grew louder and more frantic. But then, in the distance, he saw it, a faint glow, like the one that had led him into the forest. He quickened his pace, and soon, he found himself in a large chamber. At the center of the chamber was a pedestal, and on it rested the first relic, a small, glowing crystal. It pulsed with a soft, warm light, and as Aiden approached, he could feel its power. He reached out and carefully picked up the crystal. The moment his fingers touched it, the whispers stopped, and the cave grew silent. Aiden smiled. He had done it. He had found the first relic. With the crystal in hand, Aiden made his way back through the forest. Elowen was waiting for him at the edge of a clearing, her silver eyes glowing with approval. "You have done well, Aiden," she said, her voice full of pride. "But your journey is far from over. There are still 2 more relics to find." Aiden nodded, feeling more confident now. He had faced the dangers of the forest and emerged victorious. He could do it again. "The second relic lies in the heart of the forest," Elowen continued. "It is guarded by an ancient spirit, one who does not take kindly to intruders. You must prove yourself worthy to claim it." Aiden took a deep breath, his determination growing. "I'm ready." The journey to the heart of the forest was even more challenging than the first. The trees grew thicker, and the air was heavy with magic. Strange creatures watched Aiden from the shadows, their eyes glowing in the darkness. But he pressed on, guided by the light of the crystal he had found. After what felt like days, he finally reached the heart of the forest. It was a vast, open glade with a single, ancient tree at its center. The tree's roots twisted and curled around a large stone, and on the stone rested the second relic, a silver amulet, glowing with a faint blue light. But as Aiden approached, the ground trembled, and from the shadows emerged the spirit guardian, a massive, ghostly figure with eyes like fire. "Who dares enter the heart of the forest?" The spirit boomed, its voice shaking the ground. "I am Aiden," he said, his voice steady despite his fear. "I seek the relic to protect the forest from the darkness." The spirit studied him for a moment, its fiery eyes narrowing. "Many have come before you, seeking power. How do I know you are worthy?" Aiden thought for a moment, then held out the crystal he had found. "I don't seek power. I seek to protect the forest, just as you do." The spirit's eyes softened, and after a moment it nodded. "You speak the truth. You are worthy." The spirit stepped aside, allowing Aiden to approach the stone. He carefully picked up the amulet, feeling its cool weight in his hand. "You have passed the second test," the spirit said, "but the final challenge awaits." With both relics in hand, Aiden returned to Elowen once more. The silver-haired guardian looked at him with a mixture of pride and concern. "The final relic lies in the dark hollow, at the very heart of the darkness," she said. "It is the most dangerous part of the forest, and many have lost their way there." Aiden nodded, his heart pounding. He knew the final challenge would be the hardest, but he was ready. "Go, Aiden," Elowen said softly. "The fate of the forest rests in your hands." The dark hollow was unlike anything Aiden had ever seen. The trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches reaching out like claws. The air was thick with darkness, and the whispers that had once been faint were now deafening. But Aiden pressed on, his determination stronger than ever. At the center of the dark hollow, he found the final relic, a golden ring, glowing with a soft, pale light. But as he reached for it, the ground beneath him shook, and a shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. "You cannot take it," the figure hissed. "The darkness belongs to me." Aiden stood his ground. "I won't let the darkness consume the forest." The figure lunged at him, but Aiden held up the crystal and the amulet, their light shining brightly. The darkness recoiled, and the figure let out a shriek. With one final burst of courage, Aiden grabbed the golden ring and slipped it onto his finger. The moment he did, the darkness vanished, and the forest was bathed in light. Elowen appeared beside him, her eyes shining with joy. "You have done it, Aiden. The forest is safe, thanks to you." Aiden smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had faced the dangers of the enchanted forest and emerged victorious. But as he looked out at the now peaceful woods, he knew that his adventure was far from over. There would always be more quests, more challenges. But for now, he was content, knowing that he had saved the forest and proven himself worthy.